This is a special presentation of Overtime, brought to you by Bruns Goodsviller, the right choice for your next construction project, and by FCN Bank, building stronger communities. Member FDIC. And now, part 3 of the Riley Gaines series.
So as you know, Leon and I have a sports podcast that we like to do. And we focus on kind of like how Leon said, we don't really get into who scored what and who won and who lost. It's really the stories behind these athletes, how they went from, point A to point B, that sort of thing. So that's kind of what we'll do here. And along the way, I think we'll find out a lot about Riley Gaines, the person, the swimmer, and we'll go from there. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. You're from Tennessee. Where about in Tennessee? Where do you call home?
So Nashville,
Okay.
just a little north of Nashville, and it's called Hendersonville, Gallatin, not too far from the Kentucky border. That's home. It probably always will be home.
Right.
I just love it there. I really do. I've got my husband and I, we've been married 2 years now. He's the really cute British guy who has this awesome country British accent now. It rocks. So we have about 11 acres, and I bring home a different animal every day.
Uh-oh.
He's about ready to divorce me. We just had a litter of puppies, so we've got 10 dogs at the house.
Okay.
Just brought home a horse. He's like, Riley, stop it. You're not here to take care of these things. I'm like, I know. That's the best part.
Is there really a such thing as a stray horse?
I say rescue to make myself feel like I'm
Okay.
doing something
Okay.
good here.
All right. I'll give you that one. About what age? Well, when you think back to your childhood, what's your first memory of being in a pool?
Oh, my first memory. So as I said, I started swimming pretty young. Just your typical summer league team, like a lot of kids do. Me and all my siblings, we all did it together. No one liked it,
Right.
right? Like, who wants to be, like, you start in May, the pool's cold in May. I just remember vividly crying every day. But we were told, as I mentioned, I come from a family of athletes, and so my dad, he went on to play in the NFL. My mom, Division I, all conference, all the things. So they told us we have to play sports.
Right.
We didn't have a choice, and so I did them all. Soccer, gymnastics, all of the different sports. Pretty much got it between softball and swimming. Those were like my two main sports. One vivid memory I have to kind of explain more so about, I guess, my family dynamic. My dad, he had a business trip in Memphis, Tennessee, of all places. And he said, you want to come with me? I'm sure, why not? I'm like 8 years old, second grade at this point. And so we go to his little business trip, and it's like middle of December, it's freezing outside.
Sure.
And so we are in the hotel room, and he says, come downstairs with me. And so I go down there with him, and he takes me to the hotel lobby. We go outside to the pool, and the pool's, covered with the tarp. It's literally December.
Right.
And he pulls back the tarp, and he says, you're going to jump in, but you're not allowed to shiver. You're not allowed to say, I'm cold. You're not allowed to chatter your teeth. And I'm like, Dad, this is child abuse. I'm calling Mom. You can't do this to me. He said, no questions. You're going to do it. So I'm treading water, 5-10 minutes. I'm so confused what's happening. Finally, he allows me to come out of the water. We go back upstairs. My lips are purple. And I'm like, Dad, why did you make me do that? That was miserable. And he said, that was your first lesson of mental toughness. He said, Riley, there's no such thing as being cold. Just like there's no such thing as darkness. He said, there's absence of light, there's absence of heat, but there's no such thing as cold. He said, just as important physical toughness is, he said, mental fortitude, it will take you so much further. And it's something that will transcend athletics, and that was your first lesson. And I've never forgot that.
Wow.
I remember that all throughout college. Anytime that, we were training, I was hurting, in pain, I thought, pain's, it's relative.
Right.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
At what point was it no longer recreational and you started to legitimately swim competitively?
So I started doing year-round when I was about 8,
Okay.
around this time. Pretty oblivious to it, though. You know, I didn't know what was good. I didn't know what was bad. You just kind of show up and do what you can do. And I did that for probably 4 or so years. And then by the time I'm 12 years old, I was the fastest 12-year-old in the country. And again, I didn't know what it even meant.
Right.
I'd have parents who come up to my parents who, you know, my parents weren't swim parents.
Sure.
They have no idea either. And they'll say, you know, your daughter just went this quadruple A time. My parents are like, cool. Like, none of us knew what it meant.
Right.
But it was at that point where I started to maybe understand that this could be like a trajectory for college for me. And so it only really continued to progress. By the time I'm 14, 15, 16, high school, you know, you're practicing before college or before school. You go to class, you come back, you practice again for another 2 hours. So that's when I would say I started taking it really seriously. But even then, I thought that was hard work. Nothing prepared me for college.
Sure.
That was real hard work.
So, I mean, football, basketball, baseball, I get how those athletes are recruited. Swimmers recruited?
Yeah, it's changed so much now, even since.
How so?
I think when I was in high school, they had to wait until a certain date, like July 1st, going into your junior or senior year. But now they can recruit super early. But yeah, there's a time, you know, a timeline, a day where coaches are allowed to start reaching out. That July 1st date, I think. And it was crazy because when that day came, my inbox was just filled, as you could probably imagine from, I mean, every divisions, you know, Division I, Division II, Division III, all kinds of schools I was interested in, schools I wasn't. But the school who sent me an email at 12 a.m. on the dot was Kentucky. Again, I deleted the email. I wasn't interested in Kentucky. I just wasn't at all. I'm sorry. But honestly, what it was that eventually got me to go on a trip there, I was dating a guy who's not my awesome husband, who is a big Kentucky fan.
Right.
And so the coach kept reaching out and pestering me and calling me and leaving me voicemails, these super long, annoying voicemails. But he ended up saying in one of these voicemails, you know, please come on a trip here. We'll let you know, you can come to a basketball game. And this was before Kentucky was losing to like St. Norrisburg or whatever their name is,
Right.
the Peacocks. So I decided what a cool like Christmas gift to give to my boyfriend. He told me I could bring whoever I wanted. I'll just go and kind of use this as like his Christmas gift. But in doing that, really, like it was so different than any other university.
Right.
And blue is a good color on everyone.
Well, there you go.
Despite, yeah, unlike orange. So
Good deal. So you're 12, fastest 12-year-old in the country. You started to kind of look for or think forward as far as college is concerned. But what was, if there was, the defining moment when you realized, you know what, I'm pretty doggone good at this?
So when I was 15, for those who, again, maybe don't understand swimming, there's your short course season, which is your typical 25-yard pool, and then there's long course, which is you'll practice and compete from like April to August-ish, which is like the Olympic-sized pool. And so summer of 2016, I was 15 years old. I ended up qualifying for Olympic trials, which was the coolest experience, which is actually for, I think, the first time in Indianapolis going on right now,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. Typically it's in Omaha, but it was so cool because I got to go to Omaha, one of the youngest people there. Everyone else, you know, it's very seasoned and like veterans, and I just felt so, I was honored to be there, but I felt totally not qualified to be there. And it was the craziest thing because, there's a couple hundred, if not more, swimmers swimming at this meet, the most elite. But I get to the pool that very first day. You get there a few days before you compete so you can kind of acclimate to the pool, warm up, practice in it. And I click the elevator to go down to the pool, and the elevator doors open, and there's Michael Phelps. And I'm just like, what am I doing here? Why am I here? And I was, being so young, I was like so starstruck. And I was with my dad, and my dad is shameless. And he's like, "Hey, Michael, can she take a picture with you?" Like acting like we're friends. And so he did, and was super nice. And that to me, it really was kind of like this eye-opening moment. Like, wow, I'm here with the best of the best. Right. Like if I really dedicated myself and really committed myself to this, I was still playing softball at the time. I think, this could be it. So.
Good for you. You shared with us the lesson that your dad taught you in the hotel pool there, below freezing temperatures. I'm embellishing, making it sound even better. But
no, it's probably fair. Probably true.
But when you look back over your swimming career, what would you say the most important lesson that you learned from competitive swimming?
The most important lesson, I would say so much of the skill set that I utilize now is from playing sports. Right. It taught me how to be a leader, first and foremost. I was voted team captain, as I said, my junior and senior year, which was, again, a huge honor, but it taught me so much. It taught me about how to, of course, be resilient and persistent. It taught me how to set goals and work to achieve those goals. I think there was an Ernst & Young study that came out not too long ago that said 94% of C-level executives that are women were female athletes. Right. And again, I think just to showcase how being an athlete, it sets you up not just for your sport, but really for life. So I think the skills that I learned, time management, that was a huge one. When we practiced 6 hours every single day. 3 of those hours before 8 a.m. Again, you go to class, you come back, you practice again from 1:30 to 4:30, ate your dinner, did your homework, iced your shoulders, went to bed, woke up, did it all again the next day. So you have to find time, make time for other priorities like school, like your personal relationships, like your social life, other things that matter to you. And so I would say now I'm pretty diligent in how I'm able to get things done. Yeah.
Good deal. Good deal. So this is a me question, and the swimmers in the room may be able to appreciate it too. So what's one thing that you hate about swimming?
I hate swimming. And again, the swimmers know it is very much a love-hate. Like, I love winning.
Right.
I love pressure, weirdly enough. Like, I love those things. But really everything else, I think I hate it. I think no one likes jumping in a cold pool, especially not at 4:30 in the morning. Oh, one other thing I did love, though, is how I could eat whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. So now I hate that I can't do that. But I'm embellishing this too.
Sure.
There's really, you grow to appreciate those things. Right. Specific to swimming, I hate breaststroke. Yeah. I'm so bad at it. I literally go backwards. I'm not the best. Again, swimmers know you're either kind of good at kicking or pulling. I was not very good at pulling. Really hated that. So, but outside that, there's really not a whole lot. I especially towards the end of my career after COVID. COVID was a good checkpoint for me, honestly, where the sport was kind of, it changed entirely how we knew it. Sure. Or at least interrupted it entirely, where we got sent home for a few months. We never got sent home. We were there all summer. You didn't get to leave campus. Right. You didn't get to leave for Christmas. You don't get to leave for Thanksgiving. We got 1 week off in August each year. So to be told mid-March, 3 days before you were supposed to leave for your national championships, that you were going home, this rocked my world. Right. What do? There were no pools open. There were no gyms open. There was nowhere where we could continue training. Right. And so knowing that I wanted to be able to return eventually when we were able, in just as good shape, if not better, I knew I had to do something. And so I put on a wetsuit every single day, swam miles aimlessly in the lake, just hoping and praying that I would continue improving, which I did. And I'll say the amount of snakes that like swim by me or like dead catfish that are floating on top of the water. I did hate that.
Yeah, yeah.
I did hate that. But other than that, I think I liked it all. Which kind of reminds me of my favorite Bible verse, to be honest with you, which is Romans 8:18. For our present sufferings aren't worth comparing to the glory that will be revealed in us. And I did love this verse when I was younger because I applied it to swimming.
Sure.
Right? Like the present sufferings, it was the hours, it was the time, it was the sacrifices that you had to make. But it paled in comparison to when you won a championship or you broke a record or you win a best time. That made everything worth it. And that verse is still so applicable in my life now.
Okay, Reverend Gaines, preach on.
Oh, please.
Okay. You've had obviously great coaching throughout. So I want you to think back to who was your favorite coach and what do you take with you today from that particular coach?
I really have had some phenomenal coaches, and like any sport, it's hard to find that, honestly. Yeah. It really is. But I can confidently say I had the best people who could be for me at that time. Mm-hmm. So my coach when I was, in really 8 years old all the way through high school, her name is Andrea. She is from Romania. She had pretty recently moved to the U.S. From Romania when she started coaching me when I was 8 years old. And I had no idea what she was saying ever because her English was not the best. And so 8-year-old me, she'd be yelling at me at the wall. I would act like I heard her, nod my head, I'd push off, and I'd do something completely different because I had no idea what she was saying. Riley, get out, do push-ups. I'm like 8 years old doing push-ups. I'm like, okay, because I didn't know what she was saying. Her English got better. She also got nicer because she had kids, and I think that softened her a little bit.
Right.
God bless those kids. But she's still like a second mom to me. I just love her to death. My college coaches, my coach Lars, he really is amazing in how he was able to develop the program. As I said, Kentucky was not a swimming school. They were actually the bottom of the barrel, at least in terms of the SEC. But as also mentioned, my junior year, actually every year I was there, we were able to be top 3 team. I think we got 3rd my freshman year, maybe 2nd my sophomore year. We won SECs my junior year for the first time in program history, which is probably my favorite memory I have in my sport, being able to lead my team to that. That was just incredible, especially after dealing with COVID. It kind of felt like this big comeback. That was a lot of fun. So he's awesome. And again, he cared about us more than just in our sport. It really mattered what we were doing in the classroom. It really mattered what we were doing in the community. Still things that, again, I find myself involved in now. And so I was able to graduate my senior year I was the SEC Scholar Athlete. I was also the SEC Community Service Leader of the Year. And again, I attribute a lot of the push there to my coaches.
Right. So we've got some swimmers and athletes in the room with us this evening. What's one piece of advice that you would give a young female athlete?
I think the thing that I learned to be the most important is to be consistent, honestly, in everything that you do. Be consistent in your attitude, be consistent in your work ethic, be consistent in your diet, your sleep schedule, your study habits. Once I understood what consistency really looked like, the trajectory of my swimming went, it was exponential in my success. It took me a while. I would say it was about midway through my sophomore year when I was able to finally learn and adapt to that. But the 3 hours, 2-3 hours we were there every practice, I gave everything that I could. And then when I left there, I didn't think about swimming. And I think that helped me a whole lot. So Sure. Be consistent. And again, in every realm of your life, I think that's the quickest way to set yourself up for success.
You just spoke about it, leading your team to the first ever SEC championship, 12-time All-American. Yet we've spent just about all of our time talking about you saying men and women are different. Does it bother you that people don't talk about your storied swimming career that
Oh,
much.
please. No, I think I would drown if I got back in the pool now. So it feels like a lifetime ago. I mean, 2 years, but it really feels like a lifetime ago. And I understand that swimming was almost used as like, I mean, it was used as like a vessel
Sure.
to get me here. And so I've never been one to relish in any sort of accomplishments or anything like that. It is cool to look back on. It's pretty cool, you know, holding the SEC record in the 200 butterfly. What makes me one of the fastest Americans of all time. I'm like, how in the world did I do that? It's pretty cool to look back on, but no, I don't really care if people will recognize that or not. I will say you have people like Keith Olbermann. You know that guy?
Oh, yeah.
This
Not
guy.
personally enough. We don't go out or hang out. But
This guy, for those who don't, he's the ESPN reporter host who has been fired from virtually every job he's ever had there,
including ESPN.
including ESPN. But he came out and said that I was just this mediocre swimmer and blah, 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 and I'm just mad because it was fair and square and she beat me, is what he says. To which I posted this video, which just went everywhere, which was so funny, basically calling him out. Anyways, despite what Keith Olbermann says, which I challenged him to a race, but no one wants to see him in a Speedo.
Yeah. Good on you. Good.
Next on the Riley Gaines series.
And you had the confidence right then and there to speak up, to say something. Where do you think that comes from?
I think a few things. First and most importantly is definitely my faith. Just knowing that, I guess really knowing that the battle has already been won.
Well, I mean, why you?